Thank
Well, I tell
you.
you what, Nia, you have been very, very enlightening to me, and I'm sure that you will be to whoever sees this, man. And anything that I can do to help amplify your message.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna be hitting you up offline because I'm trying to get involved in more renewables.
Yes.
We want to save the planet, but also lower these bills.
Starlight, California skyline. Enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride.
What's up, Nia?
Hey, how's it going?
Going good, girl. It's going good. Good. Happy to have you today. It
Happy to
took.
be here. Happy New Year. Can we still say that?
Yeah, we can still say Happy New Year. We can definitely say Happy New Year. It's so good to have a scholar of your caliber join me on this Saturday afternoon. I know you're still basking in the glory of Founders Day and all of those good things. And how was Founders Day for you?
This was a chill Founders Day, very reflective, if you will, but very nice. I just worked.
Okay, I love that.
hmm
Well, I am certainly pleased to have you on. Just when I found out what you do for a living, it was so intriguing, and it needs to be elucidated because I need to find out more. Why you call yourself the energy queen?
I
Energy.
like that word first. Elucidated. That's a cool word.
You got to get your elucidate on.
That's a good vocabulary. But why do I call myself the energy queen? That's a good question. I'm glad we started there. I call myself the energy queen because it's kind of like a double meaning. So one is like my expertise. So I know a lot about energy. So energy in my experience too. And then also like I'm a pretty like energetic person. Like I've always been a cheerleader my whole life or like dancer performer. So I'm like used to like being on stage and like having high energy. So energy queen is like the essence of me as a intellectual and also just like as a human being. I'm very energetic.
Okay, were you in that movie with Gabrielle Union?
The Bring It On movie?
Yeah, I thought I saw you in there. Was that you in the back? Like, were you the
Maybe.
flyer in that movie?
I wasn't. So, fun fact, I did cheer professionally for the Celtics at one point in life.
You did.
Yeah, I was a pro cheerleader for the Boston Celtics. And we actually had a similar uniform one time. It was like green, like it looked like the Clover uniform.
Yeah.
So maybe you saw me on TV, perhaps with the uniform.
Who was on the team when you were cheerleading?
So this was in 2019, 2020. So it was like Marcus Smart, Kemba Walker,
Yeah.
of course, Jalen Brown, Jason Tatum. They were all on the team. But yeah, it was during that era.
Okay. So how you end up being a Boston?
Ooh, that's also a good question. I got to give credit to my mom. Here's a quick photo of her I have on my desk. Her and my nephew, they're
What's
together
up,
right
mama?
now. Shout outs, shout outs. But my mom was an NBA dancer for the Washington Bullets back in the day, back in like the 80s, 90s.
So your mama was fine.
My mama is fine, still
Is
is.
fine.
Was
Present
slash
tense.
is, yeah. She's
Okay, mama.
she could still do like the handstands and the front walkovers. Like she's very talented. So I kind of just took after her. It was in my genes, so to speak. And the Celtics was not my first choice. I just happened to live in Boston and go to school in Boston. So
Hmm.
that's why it happened.
So
Literally.
so how does that work? Like you said, it wasn't your first choice. Was that just because you're a fan and you couldn't stand Boston, or
Well, that like kind of the opposite. Like I don't really have when people ask me who's your favorite team, I have no allegiance because anyone can pay my paycheck because
okay?
I'm like a talented, I'm an artist. Like I could work for whoever, is wanting my talent.
Yeah.
And yeah, I didn't really know much about the NBA. Like I really was just like, okay, like they're having the tryout, let me go. Like this is just an audition. They want to see my skills. And then I
So I
made the
mean,
team.
did you like get up there and like do jazz and tap, or you have to have heavy gymnastics, obviously?
Yeah, so this team was more like gymnastics and cheer heavy. So we needed to know how to do like stunts, like one man stunts where it was just myself and a guy like holding me like this.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
imagine like it's just one person standing on your hands.
You got to have a lot of trust.
Like acrobatics, really. That was the skill set that was needed. Trust and fearlessness because I also was tossed like 30 feet in the air.
Did you ever bust your tail?
Never with the Celtics. But I did have a foot injury that kind of persists for a little bit, but it's better now. But like from coming down from that height, like one time, like I just landed weird, so I had a foot injury, but never my butt.
All right. All right. So you went to school in Boston,
Yeah, Northeastern University, not Northwestern, Northeastern.
Northwestern is in Chicago. Take us back on your journey through education, because you do have a very impressive educational background by any measure, by any metric. Break it
Thank
down,
you.
Nia.
Yes, okay, I'll break it down. I really will attribute my journey to my high school. That's like where things started because it was a
Hmm.
STEM school.
Okay.
So STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. And within this school, you could specialize in like a key area of science, technology, engineering, math. And so you would think I chose engineering, but I actually chose biotechnology
Really?
or biotech. Yes, and it was like a lot of lab work, a lot of like our first experiment was extracting DNA from a strawberry.
Oh,
Like
what?
just yeah, just like interesting things like that in high school.
Dang.
So yeah, so I was very into school at the high school level, and then I went to Clark Atlanta University
Hey, you see in the building,
for the
Fair
first.
Street,
Yep, yes, we love James P. Brawley.
James P. Brawley. You know I went to Morehouse. Did you
Yeah,
know that? Yeah,
I think I did know that.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah. I was sitting on that wall on James P. Brawley, right in front of Pfeiffer Hall and
that's
all
where
of
I
those. You
stayed. I
stayed in
stayed for
Pfeiffer?
Pfeiffer. Yeah, I did.
Pfeiffer was my sister dorm at the time. I lived in Hubert. I don't know if they
Okay.
maintained those ties. You
Of
know,
like the brother sister hall. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, you know about that. You know about Club Woody.
Oh yeah. Many a nights in Club Woody. Many a nights. I had like a key area that I liked to sit. Also, it was like near the trees, near the windows.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which floor did you like to sit on?
The ground floor. So
The
like when you
ground floor is where
came
the
in,
trees are.
yeah, you would like walk in and then you would just kind of like go up that little thing, go all the way back and around.
Yeah, yeah. Man, I did work study up in there back in the day, man. I have so much affection for
Like you
Woody.
worked in the like in Club Woody.
Hell yeah. Sure
That's
did.
cool.
Yeah, yeah, way in the back left in the archives. Well, they all are archives, but yeah, I worked in there as work study and
That's cool.
yeah. So what you major in at Clark?
Yeah, good question. So when I came in, I started with chemical engineering and then I switched to industrial engineering.
Okay.
And
Wow.
so, yeah, why? I honestly, chemistry was like not my favorite subject anymore. Like in high school it was, and then in college, I'm like, I don't want to do any more than chemistry one. So, and then I didn't know about industrial. I had never heard of industrial engineering till I started college. Like I feel like with engineering, you just know mechanical, chemical, maybe electrical, but industrial was not a known thing. So I changed. And that's what I ended up studying at Northeastern too.
What was it that intrigued you about industrial engineering?
Ooh, I liked that it seemed like it was more like business process based, which was interesting to me. For example, like growing up, my dad would put on How It's Made on by the History Channel on TV, which
Mm-hmm.
would show like manufacturing processes.
Mm-hmm.
And I never knew that that is essentially like industrial engineering. Like that is it. Like, and I once I started taking the classes at Northeastern, that's when I really knew I'm like, this is interesting. Like I got to learn about queuing theory, like why people stand in line, like how long people stand in lines, like at the airport or the movie theater. Like there's numbers and math behind everything.
Okay, Nia, I got so much to ask you just based off of that alone. First of all, what is
Yeah.
queuing theory? Like break it down.
Okay, so queuing theory refers to the number of servers or people like performing an action, let's say like at the airport, the number of people like at the ticket booth, and then so there the number of servers, number of people, and then how long it takes them to do that service. So
Okay.
like for example, like it could take 2 minutes for them to check your, ID, your ticket, whatever. And then all of that, once you factor in the number of people in line, you can calculate how long your wait time is gonna be.
Oh, for real? I
So
love
you know
that.
how like at the airport it'll say like 15 minutes in line, 20 minutes in line?
Yeah.
Measure that by queuing theory by saying, okay, it's 5 people checking passports. It takes 20 seconds for them to check a passport. It's 1,000 people in line. So it's like you do like I don't know the equation off the top of my head, but it's a
Mm-hmm.
mathematical equation and you figure it
Mm-hmm.
out.
So you got to be nice with math to figure it out.
Yeah, and so that was another reason. Industrial was like all math, and in high school, I always got A's in mathematics, and that was also my second major at Clark was mathematics.
Okay, Nia, just like yourself, when you went to Clark,
Hmm.
the average person, man, like we don't know the differences between all those different types of engineering. What is an industrial engineer?
Yes, that's a good question. And an industrial engineer is focused on the process of something. That's like the most layman's way of putting it, and like making that process more efficient by reducing the amount of waste, optimizing the amount of like resources that go to it, and managing like a project from start to finish, like and making sure that the process is efficient. An example would be like a bridge, for example. So an industrial engineer would be responsible for like ordering the materials for the bridge, like the timeline, making sure the timeline is set to build a bridge,
Mm-hmm.
and then also like allocating the people and making sure that the budget doesn't go off.
Okay,
Is that a
okay.
good explanation? Like it's kind of like project management, but the reason why industrial engineering is like there's a science behind it because we learn like all of the math behind why things are the way that they are. Like it's systems based thinking, like a
Yeah.
system. Yeah.
Can you do something about the DMV with your theory? Can we put some Q in theory and fine tune that? Because that Q in theory is clearly off at the DMV and the
That
post
is
office.
that is such a great point. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's definitely a place where optimization needs to be applied for sure. And
I
it's
mean,
really, yeah, what were you gonna say?
no, I say they definitely need the Energy Queen 19 to come up in the DMV because it's terrible up in
Yeah,
there.
it is pretty bad.
All right, so mathematics you've always loved.
Yeah.
Did your parents foster a love of mathematics? Or you just fell in love with it naturally.
Yeah, I think it was like a little bit of both. Like, actually, let me give credit where credit is due. Cyber Chase.
What is
It's a
cyber
TV.
chase?
It's a show. It's an animated TV show called Cyber Chase, and it's all about mathematics. Like growing up, that was my favorite show. Like I would have to come home from school and watch it because it was like a PBS show.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't grow up with cable, so I couldn't watch like Cartoon Network or Disney.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I would watch Cyber Chase, and that was like a great show. It was about math, and that's what made me love math, to be honest. And then I was just good at it. I just became really good ever since like seventh grade. Yeah.
What was your experience like? What was your experience like in undergrad in the engineering department?
Yeah. Uh, I'll speak to Northeastern because that was really where it was like the College of Engineering.
Got you.
It was the whole sea of white people, not a lot of black folks at
Yeah,
all.
yeah, for sure.
Very few women as well. And that was a reflection in the faculty as well. A lot of men faculty. My experience was interesting. Like, I think, how do I describe? I felt out of place a lot of the time, but at the same time, I knew that my purpose was like meant to be there at
Mm-hmm.
the time too.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just learned a lot. I guess that's the best way to put it. My experience was learning a lot, absorbing a lot of information, and getting good practice on how to think through a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I'm grateful that I studied it. I don't use any engineering ever in like my day job at all. But
Okay.
yeah, I still have all the principles and the way of applying the knowledge.
So, what is your day job? What does the Energy Queen do on the day to day?
Yes, so I actually have a lot of jobs, but one of my day jobs, I work part-time at a bank or a community development financial institution, CDFI. It's a nonprofit. And what I do is I help plan events for energy. So I'll give you an example of why being an industrial engineer helps me plan events. So
Okay.
an event has many components, right? You have speakers, you have a panel, you have the audience, you have to market the event, you have to have, the materials. Are you going to have food? Are you going to have giveaways? Are you going to incentivize people to come? So as an industrial engineer, I'm an expert at like thinking about the entire like operation of an event and like being able to strategically like do everything on a timely manner so that it all can get done, or so that it all accumulates to like a successful event.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what I do as like a day to day. But I also do some part time like consulting with tribal nonprofits as well, just general folks that are interested in renewable energy development. I do a lot of consultations. So yeah,
Okay.
that's what I do.
Okay, that's so cool, man.
Yeah, thank
You
you.
know, now I know that renewable energy appears to be your passion. Would that be correct?
Yes, that is
Okay.
correct. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. When did you develop a passion for renewable energy?
Mm, I think I developed a true passion for it once I went to India.
Okay. What part?
So I went to like 10 different cities in India.
Dang. Okay. You went on a
From
world tour, didn't you?
I really did. We visited a lot of the country. This was why I was at North when I was at Northeastern. It was a summer program called A Dialogue of Civilization,
Hmm.
and we learned about sustainable development and social entrepreneurship. And I remember seeing like in the description that we would visit a college in India, and it was in this really small town village type situation called Talonia. And the college was called the Barefoot College, like your bare feet, like you're not wearing shoes,
Hmm.
like a barefoot college.
Okay.
And at this college, they had women, they trained to be solar engineers
Straight up.
who came from all over the world in different remote villages all over the world. And then they like brought the women back to their village with the energy, the technology to give solar energy to their village.
That's dope.
And I was like that was when I developed a passion, because I'm like, this is really a technology that can bring light to so much darkness, literally to people in the world. And also, I learned that anyone can learn how to become a solar technician. Anyone, because these women were like illiterate; they didn't speak the same language. Like there were women from Jordan, from Tanzania, from Argentina, from Thailand. I mean, like everywhere in the world.
So
So
basically, what you're saying is you don't have to take the GMAT to power your village and give energy to your village and your town.
you just got to know red, green, blue wire. This goes to this goes to this, and read some numbers. Like it's quite literally that simple.
Dang. So, from that perspective, Nia, what do you feel like are the most significant inefficiencies in current energy systems, and how does your approach address them?
Yeah, there's a few inefficiencies. I'm just writing this down. Inefficiencies in the energy system. Well, for one, our energy grid, let's start there. Like the grid.
Hey, listen, Southwest Atlanta, our grid go out all the time. It
Hmm.
goes out all the time. That's one of my pet peeves, man. Like, can you please come down here to South Fulton and do something about it?
And see that y'all are close to a lot of, okay, so the grid will go down because there's not enough reliable energy in the surrounding area. So that is an inefficiency. There is actually a lack of generation. Like imagine there not being enough energy to power everyone's home.
Nia, see, now you're getting down to the meat on the bone.
Yeah,
For the average person that's paying these high energy bills, Nia, please
yeah,
explain to us why exactly we don't have enough energy with what we pay, man. Like how does it work? Is there like a certain tell us how it works for
yes,
an area of a city or something.
yes. Okay, so how it works is that it's three-part process, okay? So first you have a generating facility, right? AKA a power plant, okay? That's
Okay.
the first part of the process. And this could be owned by an independent person, this could be owned by anyone, really.
Mm-hmm.
And what they do is that they sell the power in this market called the Independent System Operating Market, or ISO. It's different in different parts of the country, but essentially this market prices energy on a 5-minute basis. So that means like energy is a different price right now at 206 than it was at 205.
For real?
Yes, because that's how energy is priced. It's priced on a 5-minute market.
Mm.
So that's the first step, is like energy is produced at a power plant and then it is sold on this market. Okay. Then it goes to the second step, which is it's transmission. So those are the big power lines you see that are like kind of shaped like people in a way, but just
Mm-hmm.
with what, deal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's transmission. So that's getting it from the power plant on a high voltage line to be able to then go to the third step, which is distribution, which is how it gets to you. So when you pay your bill, you're actually paying a transmission cost or a generation cost and a distribution cost. So it costs money to generate the power
Mm-hmm.
and it costs money to transport the power. Is that one way to think?
Dang.
Did you know
So
that process? No.
no, I definitely didn't know the process, and so like everything else, we're getting triple charged for things,
Right, because there's also the impact of supply and demand. So what I was saying about your grid going out, your grid could go out because let's say it's 100,000 people that need power, but they only have enough power for 99,000 people, like 1,000, like, you know what I mean? What I'm trying to say is like they have to be able to like divvy it up. So sometimes they'll turn the power off to help offset the, you know, the usage of what they have supplying the demand.
Okay, okay. Are there areas? I guess it goes with. Tell me about energy inequity.
Mm, yeah.
You know,
Yes.
break that down because I know that there are areas that in the world and in the country that are
Mm-hmm.
not served equally.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us why that is and
Yeah.
what that looks like in
Well, one of the reasons why has to be connected to this idea of industrialization, and a lot of it is connected to colonialism, right? Trying to develop places that we refer to now as the undeveloped nations, but really, like, they're living in a time where they are the most efficient living beings on the planet because if they're not connected to energy in the grid, they're still eating, they're still, living a life. They're just doing it without electricity. Let's just point that out there. So energy inequity just means the access to industrialized or modern technologies. That's the
hmm
first thing. That's what I have
hmm
written down first is access. And then the second piece, if you bring it more closer to home, an example of energy inequity would be the affordability of energy. So we were talking about the different charges you get on your energy bill, right? So energy is actually priced. Can you take a guess like how much per kilowatt hour energy is?
$5
Okay.
more
It's like cents.
cents.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's like 11 cents a kilowatt hour.
11 cents. So super cheap.
It's like, I mean, it sounds cheap, but the idea is that you only have a certain amount of kilowatts or like that you can use in your house that is charged at a certain price. It's like different tiers. It's like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. So let's say the first tier is like the first 250 kilowatts you use is a certain price. And then tier 2 is 250 to like 2,500. And then tier 3 is a different cost. So the more energy you use, the more expensive it actually is also.
Dang.
So that could be an inequity too. Is like people aren't even aware of their usage. They just kind of like take advantage of the fact that in America we have power, we think all the time. So, but really people don't know that it costs different based on how much you use.
So your mom and your grandmama was right when they told you to turn the darn light off when you leave the room. Then you
Exactly.
know, yeah,
Gotta conserve
yeah,
your energy.
yeah.
Yep.
They knew what they were talking about. Shoot.
So yeah, when I think of energy inequity, I think of access, I think of affordability, and then I think of just, the connection again to like modernization and like not being able to like, have a car. Like, there's a lot of walking or another vehicle involved. I don't know. I think of like what energy can do, and like transportation is a big part of the energy ecosystem. So I got to mention that. And I guess one more thing too is like clean cooking is another thing that comes to mind.
So you mean electric?
Yeah, so clean cooking is like a phenomenon mostly used like in the African context or developing nation context where they want folks to transition from open fire, which has been proven scientifically to cause more pollution and like harm to their lungs. Like they have disproportionate health outcomes because of the exposure to the fire. Like that's been scientifically proven. So the alternative or the solution is electric cooking, clean cooking to make it
Okay.
healthier and better. So,
You know, it's so crazy. Yeah, I grew up on electric. I didn't know anything about gas until after Morehouse. When I moved
wait,
up to
where are you
Philly,
from?
Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Shoot, we had an electric range,
Hmm.
and I didn't think anything of it until I got with
Hmm.
gas and saw how quickly gas, would cook something. I was like, gas is the lick until I,
Right.
realized that maybe it wasn't.
Yeah. I mean, we were saying this a little bit before we started rolling, but I mean, I am under the impression that it's going to taste different because it's different fuel. But definitely, like, I have to acknowledge that fire is one of the first forms of energy known to man,
Mm-hmm.
like on the planet, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And fire can do so many things. It could serve as light, it could also cook, you know, think of more ways that you can use fire, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it just goes without saying that it is going to take like a mindset switch to go electric. But there's still maybe people that say this is the most natural way to do it. Like I know in some cultures, like you have to learn how to start a fire before you can start a family.
Yeah.
So like having that skill, like being able to know how to create fire is, a life skill in some places. So
It
yeah,
sure is a life skill because, one of my favorite TV shows is Naked and Afraid. You ever seen Naked
yeah,
and Afraid?
yeah. I heard of that show. Yeah, I've seen a few episodes.
Yo, they, to be, hey, if things went left and you had to start a fire, man, a lot of people would be in trouble. So I went and bought me a fire starter, right?
Yeah.
With some flint, and I got out there trying to start a fire. It's hard as hell to start a fire. Like,
Mhm.
it really is. But
Yeah.
you may need to start one day. You know what I mean?
One
So
day.
yeah. So in your career, man, take us through a typical. Now, I have seen rather that you've been all over the world. You already talked about India. I saw you up in Dubai, chilling. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So we talked about India. India was kind of my introduction to traveling abroad to like learn more about my craft. And to be honest, like I've been really blessed. A lot of these trips have been work related or school related.
Okay.
Um, so yes, I went to India, and then actually, when I started my first job, I was working at UC Berkeley in the Department of Civil Engineering, and I was working in community engagement. And I somehow convinced my department that I needed to go to this global conference to be able to do community engagement.
Okay.
And for them to pay for it, and that worked. And the only thing was I had to get access to go to this conference, and this is the United Nations Conference of Parties on Climate Change, which they don't just give that invitation to anybody. So
Yeah.
I worked my tail off to get an invitation and to have the credentials to go, and I did. And that was like 2.5 years ago, and I met the Secretary of Energy
Okay.
of the
Who?
United States.
That's dope.
Her name is Jennifer Granholm, Queen. And I just continued, or I started to like really build this global network of like-minded people, and that just
Yeah.
gave me a passion that I just never felt before. And then I also found out, and it was in Egypt, in Sharm el Sheikh, Egypt. And I'm also a Delta. I wanted to go to the pyramids, so that all worked out,
Of course.
right? But then I found out in Egypt that the next year the conference was in Dubai.
Okay. So
I'm
so
like,
so you
I
getting your
want to go to
conference
Dubai.
on. Like
Yeah,
you going every year.
yeah. So I'm like, let me
Okay.
check this out. So boom, then I got an opportunity to speak in Dubai too. I just filled out the form to speak, and then it got accepted. I was like, whoa, that's how easy.
What did you speak about in Dubai?
Yeah, honestly, I gave like a biography of myself. I'm not gonna lie. Like that was the beginning of it, was just introducing myself to the world. But then I also talked about my work that I do in Berkeley with kids at a local high school, and how like community engagement and engineering intersects with like education, development. Like I aligned my work with the Sustainable Development Goals, which are these 17 goals that like govern how we approach sustainability across the globe.
Okay. Can you break down those break it all the way down to the very
Yeah,
last
I can actually
compound?
I can show you
Okay,
actually.
show me. Show
This
me.
is my book, by the way, but we're just gonna turn to a page of the book that is the SDGs. So here we go. So here they are.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
number 1 is no poverty. 2
Mhm.
is zero hunger. 3 is good health and well-being. 4, quality education. 5 is gender equality. Clean water and sanitation is 6. 7 is my favorite, affordable and clean energy.
Mhm.
8 is decent work and economic growth. 9 is industry, innovation, and infrastructure. 10 is reduced inequalities. 11 is sustainable cities and communities. 12 is responsible consumption and production. It's a big one. 13 is climate action. 14 is life below water. 15 is life on land. 16 is peace, justice, and strong institutions, because we need that across the world.
We
Peace.
sure do.
And then finally, 17 is partnerships for the goals.
Okay, I assume that those are not ranked.
No.
Okay, because yeah, I was about to say the clean water need to be right up there at the top.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
all of those are very, very, very noble, man, and needed, man.
Mm-hmm.
What you think about the wildfires out there in LA?
Oh, my heart is broken, honestly.
Yeah, it's messed up. It's
My heart
terrible.
is broken, and it's sad that, so much tragedy is striking kind of all at once as it pertains to climate. It's like we haven't had a break yet in the last few months of just like one disaster after another.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually I don't know if victim is the right word, but I've actually lost my house due to a fire, not a
For real?
wildfire. But yeah, my house when I was growing up caught on fire.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So the fact that that happened to me growing up, like I know what it's like to like lose everything and having to start over. And so I just feel for them. I'm, really sad, and we'll continue to just amplify the resources available to help the people affected.
How do you think how do you think it can be prevented in the future? Can it be prevented? Or are we too far gone on the climate change thing at this point?
So according to the scientists, when I say that, that means that it wasn't from me. The scientists said this.
Mm-hmm.
But they said that we reached 0.5 degrees Celsius tipping point, which is like this catastrophic number that we've been trying to avoid for like the last 30, 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the irregular weather patterns we're seeing are being exacerbated because of climate. So that's the unfortunate reality. So we're not so far gone. Like I don't want to be like so, doomsday,
Mm-hmm.
because I operate in hope in what I do, and knowing that energy and renewables are like a great solution. So I try to keep a positive outlook, but it goes without saying that it is something to be nervous about.
What are renewables, Nia?
Renewables are alternative energy sources to oil, gas, and fossil fuels,
All right, give me some examples.
which are not. So solar energy is one example of renewables, and the source would be the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Wind energy or wind turbines is a technology that is using the air or the wind
Mm-hmm.
blowing.
Mm-hmm.
There's hydro energy, which are dams that is from water, like keep trapping water and then that spinning a turbine. Those are like the top 3 examples. I can name more.
Okay. Um, that's that's dope. I wish there was a way for us to switch to the use of those things, but of course, the economic incentive
Yeah,
from the people that are getting paid,
right.
I'm sure is stopping us from converting over to clean energy.
It's funny you say that, because one of my followers on Instagram, like I had them ask me like questions leading up to this, and
Mm-hmm.
someone quite literally asked like, what are top 3 ways that Black people can utilize sustainable energy?
Mm-hmm.
And so can I answer? I feel like this is a good place to insert this, where
Yeah, Nia, what are the top 3 ways that Black people could use renewable energy?
so the first thing is obviously building awareness that it exists. I think a lot of folks have heard solar, no solar. They're probably like annoyed as you don't know what by people knocking on their doors being like, do you want to buy solar? But I think in addition to just hearing the buzzing about it, they can also research and attend local council meetings that talk about infrastructure or utilities. They can also read their utility bill to kind of get an understanding of where their energy is currently coming from, because it may mention renewables. So that's the first thing they can do.
So you can
And
open
then,
up your bill and it'll tell
mhm,
you if your energy is from renewables.
yes, which leads me to my
Maybe.
second thing. Yes. So it leads me to my second point, which is there's something called community choice aggregators. Okay.
Okay.
And a community choice aggregator allows you to decide where your energy is coming from and if it can come from a renewable source. So if you live in one of these states, California, Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Rhode Island, Virginia,
Mm-hmm.
then you can see if you have a community choice aggregator in your area.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wow.
those two things, you don't even have to pay any money to be able to utilize sustainable energy. That's just you like setting yourself up to the resources that already exist.
Okay. Okay. I think we need to take that message far and wide, Nia. On the real. I'm about to go check my electric bill
Hmm.
right now to see where my power is coming from and if I can get over to a better type of situation
Yeah, because in
around
your
here.
case, you're in Georgia. They just put a nuclear power plant there, and I'm not sure if you're able to say on your bill, like, I want my energy to come from this nuclear power plant rather than wherever it's coming from.
Where is the new nuclear power plant?
Um, I I know it's called Point Vogel, and I think it's like 50, 60 miles from Atlanta. I'm not really sure exactly where, but
Hmm.
maybe it's a little bit further. I'm not sure, but it's the first nuclear power plant in the country in like 40 years.
Dang, why is that?
Yeah, people are scared of nuclear. They think that it's gonna blow up, literally. That's to put it really lame, like people
Hmm.
literally are just like, this is not safe. But what they don't realize is like nuclear is really efficient. It runs constantly, so it's like really reliable power. We were just talking about reliability in the beginning.
Hmm.
You can always count on nuclear producing energy, like
Hmm.
always. It's like 96% efficient.
Well, though, and then also, Nia, those of us of a certain age remember Chernobyl.
True. Which like
You know what
this
I
didn't
mean?
happen in the United States though.
I know, I know. I'm from Tennessee, so we had the Oak Ridge nuclear plant
Right.
up there,
Right.
and have had it my entire life. And
Mhm.
it hadn't melted down up there yet. So I think nuclear is clearly the way to go.
Mhm.
Who we call to get some nuclear, Nia?
Well, so my first internship was with the Nuclear Regulatory Commission
Okay,
in DC. I was like 16 years old.
dang.
Yeah. So who do you call is like looking into the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. Look at like what's on their docket, like what are public opportunities for you to like give your input because they do a lot of nuclear stuff. They do protection against like weapons, protection against the actual energy side too. So pretty cool stuff.
Okay, okay. So,
Yeah.
Nia, there is a conspiracy theory that clean energy has been the processes to have clean energy have been out for many years and that the that's dope. That's dope.
Thank
Now,
you.
just to back up a little bit, Nia, when you say
Yeah.
tribes, what do you mean?
I mean like Native American like tribes.
For
Like
real? Okay. How'd that come about?
so my business partner and I are both tribal or have like native roots. So
Okay.
my people are the Seminole people
Mm-hmm.
and we're in Florida. We're from Florida. And we're referred to as the unconquerable people because we never surrendered to America ever.
Okay. Unconquerable.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And my business partner, he's from the Wampanoag tribe, which is
Mm-hmm.
up in Massachusetts.
Yeah. Yeah. What's so crazy? I used to live in Arizona, right?
Wow,
And
that's big
yeah,
community
yeah.
out there.
Yeah, a little town called Yuma.
Mm,
And there were a couple of tribes there. And I got to know some natives. It was a real dope experience.
mm-hmm.
And I wish, that more people had the chance to know some indigenous people and learn.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, part of the energy inequities is going back to that question is that a lot of them don't have access to energy. They're powering their homes using like a propane tank or like a generator or something
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
They're not connected to the grid. They have unfair rates, like energy costs like an unfair wage for them in some cases. So it's
Hmm.
also unaffordable. So there's like a lot of energy inequities for indigenous folks that live in this country. And my business partner and I, since we come from that community, we have like a high expectation that they'll want to work with us. Oh, puppy. They'll want to work with us because they're kind and we have their best interests, and like we're not just there to make money off them or off their land. Is like we
Yeah.
actually want to empower them and like have them be able to like maintain the systems that we help them build. And it
Hmm.
also, yeah, we want to like work alongside them, which is kind of what we're doing right now.
I love that, Nia.
Thank
That's so
you.
noble.
Thank
Well, I
you.
tell you what, Nia, you have been very enlightening to me, and I'm sure that you will be to whoever sees this, man. And anything that I can do to help amplify your message.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna be hitting you up offline because I'm trying to get involved in renewables.
Yes.
We want to save the planet, but also lower these bills at the
Yes.
same time. Because we are watching the penties with this inflation being out of control, the way
Yeah.
that it is on everything.
Exactly. I
Yeah,
totally will. I would love to support, and as a lot of this like money is coming through the pipeline to get Americans into solar,
yeah,
like from the household perspective, business perspective, all those things, like I'll definitely keep you in mind to have you take advantage and it not be so cumbersome. Like it should be easy to do
yeah.
this. And so that's part of my mission is to help make it.
I love that. I love that,
Thanks.
Nia. Well, listen, girl, are you watching the NFL today?
I am. You know why? Because the Commanders are playing, and my default is to be a fan of anything DC. So,
Any DC?
so
Yeah,
go DC,
yeah. Hey, the Commanders been jamming this year.
and they've been doing really good.
Yeah, yeah. That boy Jaden Daniels is something else.
Yep. So I'm
And
rooting for.
who you got on the national championship?
I mean, I love an underdog, so I have to go. I mean, this is gonna sound contradictory because they're playing the Lions, but like the Lions have like literally never won, so like it would be great to see them win just because they're the underdog. Like I'm always a big fan of the underdog.
Yeah, yeah, me too. Hey, I wouldn't be mad seeing the Lions win or the Lions go to the Super Bowl, because they've been down a long time.
Yeah,
They've
but
been
it
down
would
a
be
long time.
if the Commanders take them out today and end up going all the way, then I'm going home for the party. I'm going home for the party. Hopefully I'm not still abroad. Can I just share one last thing before we go?
Yeah, share it. Yeah.
So I'm actually going to Nigeria in 2 weeks.
Okay, where you going?
I'm going through Lagos, but gonna end up in a town called Abakuta,
Okay.
and I'll be helping to launch a AI climate innovation center with one of my mentors who's Nigerian. Yeah.
Nia,
So that's
break
one of my
that
other
down.
jobs.
How you gonna wait to the end of the interview to break to drop that? Tell us about it.
Oh yeah, so my mentor and I've known him since Clark Atlanta days. He's a professor there, but he also owns a development company. And so since I've known him, I'm like, when are we going to Nigeria? Like when are we going? When are we going? And finally, like now we're going in 2 weeks to he's just bought this parcel of land and we're gonna build a solar farm there and also build a innovation like workforce training center to do solar. So
Oh,
everything I've been talking about, I'm doing it in Nigeria. So
okay.
it's exciting.
Yeah, that's so dope. That's so dope. I know you're gonna be posting. I want to see all of that. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? And shoot, I wish I could go. I want to be involved in something like that. How could I get down?
Yeah, I'll let you know like how maybe you can support. I'll be bringing some students out there too.
For
Like some
real?
students from Clark. Yeah, like not this time around, but like in some months, like I'm planning for opportunities for students. Like the same way I came to India, like it's full circle. I just brought it back full circle. Like that's the plan is to like help other students gain that exposure.
I love that. You got such
Thank
a great spirit, girl. I wish you all
you.
the best.
Thank
And
you.
stay in touch. And after you get back from building all of that, I want to have you back on, to tell us what it was like, what it was about, and how you impacted the communities over there.
Absolutely. I would love to. That would be great. And thanks again for having me. It's been awesome to share my expertise and, share space with you too. So have a good rest of your day.
Hey, you too, girl. Everybody, Nia Jones. Stay tuned to Nia. She can be found on IG at Energy Queen Teen. That's 19. Follow her. She is doing the work. I will catch you on the rebound, girlfriend. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Star.